Good morning, friends. Today we are going to learn English for Business Communication, Module number 5th, Business Correspondence, Part 1st. In the last lecture, we learned about what is the syllabus for your semester 2nd for English for Business Communication. And now we are going to learn the first module in semester 2nd, that is English for Business Correspondence. And in this particular module, you are going to learn business correspondence. What is the meaning of business correspondence? It means the letter writing for the business purposes. That is, we think about communication. It is a part of written communication. That is, communication through exchange of letters is known as correspondence. We communicate our feelings and thoughts to our friends and relatives through letters, and this communication is called as personal communication or personal correspondence. On the other hand, there is another type of business correspondence that is related to business transactions, day-to-day business subjects are related in it. Business correspondence means the exchange of information in a written format for the process of business activities. A business letter is a form of communication. It is written by an authorized person or an organization. So, business correspondence takes place between different organizations or between the customers and the organizations. The first part, what should be the points to remember? You must plan your letter before you start writing to make sure to say sure it says everything you want to say and says it in a logical sequence. See, here logical sequence is the most important part. That how the business correspondence is need of the time now. That is, what is the need of this particular written communication, and at the same time you should follow the particular structure and logical sequence in it. That is, next part, the layout and presentation of your letter is important as they give the reader the first impression of the firm's efficiency. So, layout and presentation is the most important part of your writing of the business letter. Next part, that is, ask yourself if the letter represents your organization in a correct way and how you are going to present it. Accuracy is important. Pay special attention to titles, names, and addresses, prices and specifications, and enclosures. This part is very important, and in next slides, we are going to learn it in detail. Ask yourself if the recipient will understand your letter quickly. Recipient should understand your letter quickly and include just the right amount of information in your letter. Better include too much than too little. Use a simple and polite style of language. See what kind of language you are going to use. Be aware of idioms. Don't use any kind of idioms in your letter writing. With a very few exceptions, business correspondence is being word processed in most places of business. Your letter should be clear. Take care with abbreviations and figures. So, you must remember those points for your business letter writing. What are the elements of business letter? That is letterhead or return address. Next, dateline. Next, personal or confidential notation. Next, inside address. Next, attention line. Next, salutation. Next, subject or reference line. Next, body or text. After that, complimentary clause, signature, names and title lines, identification lines, enclosure lines, copies lines, and postscript. These are the elements. Now, what is the letter sample? See, these are the included part. One by one you have to present. It is sender's address, business letterhead. That is, here is a one of the address is written. After that, date, how you are going to present it in American style or in British style. Again, inside address, attention line. See, this is the parts you are going to present in your letter one by one. You should not mismatch the points, and you have to write down it as per the protocol of the business letter. Next is subject title. Next is salutation, how you are going to write down it, dear sir or madam, respected sir or madam. Next part, body of the letter, how you are going to write down the particular body of the letter, what is in detail the subject of the particular letter. Next, complimentary clause, that is yours faithfully, yours sincerely. After that, signature. After that, title, that is production manager, to whom you are going to who is going to signature sign in that particular signature, that particular designation you have to write down. That is production manager or only manager or marketing manager, in that way. Enclosures, next part, that is what kind of enclosures you are attached to that particular letter. Copies, to whom you are going to send those copies of that letter. So this is a sample letter, and you can understand because of this box that one by one you have to present this particular parts of the letter. Next part, tips, that is the elements of the letter should be neither too widespread nor too dense. Next, your letter is brief, use large fonts, it will look better. The format should convey information clearly and logically, reflecting your organization's style. This is the first part, that is letterhead. You always read the notice board, and notice on the notice board is always on letterhead. You come to know logo of the college, address of the college, email ID of the college, mobile number of the college, uh, uh, phone number of the college. After that, name of the principal, name of the vice principal. This is the name of the college. All those details are included in the letterhead. This is the format. This here is a logo, and you will understand how it should be. Next part of letterhead, that is good letterhead should be readable, informative, and attractive. But next part, that is you should not too attention occupying. Next, mandatory elements. Compulsory you have to write down What are the mandatory elements? Firm name, address including zip code and area code, telephone number, website, optional elements logo, the executive's name and title, a list of board directors or other governing bodies. That I have given example of our college letterhead. Here all these details are included on our college letterhead. If you read any notice on the website, you can understand there is a notice is on letterhead. Next part, date. The date is written below the sender's address, sometimes separated from it by a space. Two most common forms, that is November 27, 2009, it is an American form, and 27th November 2009, it is a British font. So the month is never abbreviated, the day is never spelled out, and ending for numbers 27th are not usually used. The shortened date can also be used 11 20 oblique 27 2009 or 27 oblique 11 2009, American or British. Remember, in American style you have to write down first month, date and year. In British, date, month and year. Confidential or personal notations. What will be the confidential and personal notation? Example, private or confidential, below the date but above the address of the person you are writing to recipient. It is between the date line and the inside address. The same notation should be put on the envelope also. See, next part is about inside address. The address of the recipient. See, here is one of the address is written here. So in this way you are going to write down step by step the business letter. Always on the left and single spaced. Inside address should be on the left side of the page and the single spaced. Again, the recipient's name, if stated, is followed by the company's name, the department or division, the street address, city postal address, city postal code, and country. If one of the lines is very long, put half of it on the next line, intending 2 or 3 spaces. Next part is recipients. The recipient's name and the title are separated by a comma. The title can be underneath the name or omitted. If you are writing two more than one person, make a list of the names in alphabetical order. Next part is about attention line. That is, example, attention sales manager. It means to whom you are going to write down the particular letter. This is used when you do not know the name of the person you are writing to. You are not going to mention the name of the person, then you have to mention the designation of that particular person. Next, this line can also be printed before the address of the company. Next is about subject line, the subject title. Here is an example, that is subject, chondrophonic sound systems. Next, the subject title should be provide a further reference, saves introducing the subject in the first paragraph, immediately draws attention to the topic of the letter, allows the writer to refer to it throughout the letter, and quickly identifies the purpose of the letter. So, subject title is the most important part of this particular letter writing. In this way, you are going to write down the subject title. It is important one, and we can call it is a statement in brief that indicates the matter to which the letter relates, or it attracts the attention of the receiver immediately and helps him to know quickly what the letter is about. An indication of the subject of the letter may quicken its disposal, and usually it is typed and double spaced between the salutation and the first line of the body of the letter. The word subject is followed by a colon. See, here is also used colon, and then the matter is indicated. So it is like the title of the report indicating the contents. And here is an example, that is inquiry about Samsung television, first fire insurance policy. This is the next example in your textbook, and you can understand what is the particular part and how the subject title is used. Next part, should be less than one line or two. Subject line should be in one line or it should be a brief statement. So, in this part, we learn about the particular part of how the structure of the business letter, that is how you are going to write down the business letter, that is what should be the heading, what should be the date, reference number, inside address, and the subject line. In the next part, we will learn about the salutation, body of the letter, what is the main part, middle part, and the last part of the body of the letter. After that, complimentary close, again salutation and complimentary close, and signature. This is the format of your business letter writing. You should remember, and each kind of letter, each type of letter, you are going to use this particular format. So keep in mind, you have to follow all those details in the business letters, whether it is a complaint letter, whether it is a letter of inquiry, or letter of compliment, or it might be letter of uh, mass communication circular letters. So this is important part in your learning and practicing for business letters. So till then, stay safe, stay home.